So, schönen guten Morgen nach Österreich. Mein Name ist Hans-Joerg Hoertnagl. Ich bin der österreichische Wirtschaftsdelegierte hier in New Delhi. Ich freue mich, dass Sie heute dabei sind bei unserem Webinar The Future of Drone Technologies. Wie Sie vielleicht wissen, unterhält die Außenwirtschaft Austria weltweit über 100 Büros, Außenwirtschaftscenter und Außenwirtschaftsbüros. Und weltweit gibt es in diesen Büros auch 13 sogenannte Innovationsbeauftragte. Die Aufgabe dieser Innovationsbeauftragten ist es, die österreichische Wirtschaft, Sie, über die neuesten Trends, über die neuesten technologischen Trends zu informieren, auf Laufenden zu halten. Einer dieser 13 Innovationsbeauftragten haben wir hier in New Delhi, Herrn Ajay Singh. Und wir arbeiten sehr viel im Startup-Bereich, machen sehr viele Events, bringen die indischen Startups mit österreichischen zusammen. Und wir haben uns auch überlegt, eine Webinar-Serie mit dem Titel The Future of zu organisieren. Insofern ist heute, das heißt, jeden letzten Donnerstag eines Monats organisieren wir ein Webinar mit Zukunftsthemen, außer den Monaten Juni und Juli. Ich werde noch zum Schluss dieses Webinars die nächstfolgenden Events bekannt geben. Wenn Sie Themen haben, Vorschläge haben, die Sie sehr interessieren, bitte geben Sie uns Feedback, teilen Sie uns das mit und das werden wir gerne berücksichtigen. So we switch now to English. Welcome again to our webinar, The Future of Drone Technologies. I would like to mention that at the moment, India is the 5th largest economy in the world. And just last half year, India took over Great Britain as the 5th largest economy. And by the end of this decade, India will become the 3rd largest economy in the world after the United States and China. This implies a lot of major developments in the society, developments in the economy, in all areas. You can feel that in infrastructure, industrialization, technologies. And one of the top areas is drone technologies. So when you're based here in Delhi, like in our case, you have the feeling everybody is starting now business, the drone business. There's a lot of technology going around. And I can say there is a really positive, I'd say, ecosystem in the drone sector. It's strongly encouraged by the government. The government brings together R&D, research and development, together with startups, together with established companies, and also with the finance companies. There's a lot of support by the government. And the goal of the government is to become a worldwide hub for the drone sector. So that's the reason we are talking about this topic. We are very privileged to having Dr. Iyer, the director from the Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati-Assam. I'd like also to mention that last year, we had a 40 head delegation of startups to Austria. We had also 10 participants from Assam, so very booming states there. And the Indian Institute of Technologies are the top renowned and respected institutions, education institutions and research in the world. As a student, it's very hard, very tough to get in. And we are privileged, as I said, to have Dr. Iyer with us. And we have also 2 startups in the drone sector. One is Mr. Vinod Kumar. He's the founder and director of Senseacre Labs. It's a new drone system in the agri-tech sector. And also Mr. Utkarsh Singh, he's founder and CEO of DronaMaps. It's a drone in the flight and simulation area. With that, I finish now and I pass over to our innovation officer, Mr. Ajay Singh. Thank you much.
Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Ajay Singh and I am the Senior Advisor for Startups, New Corporates, Science, Technology and Innovation at Advantage Austria in India. Today we will discuss future of drone technologies in India with the mainstream use cases and innovation done by the government, industry, academia and the most notable startups in India. So drone, as you can see on your screen, are one of the most notable invention of our time. Today we will learn more on the subject from the expert. Without further ado, I would like to call upon Dr. Parameswar Krishnan Iyer, Officiating Director, Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati-Assam, to enlighten us on the future of drone technologies. Over to you, Dr. Iyer.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, Dr. Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Ajay, for this kind introduction. I also thank Mr. Hoertnagl for enlightening us on how the program will flow. And namaste and good afternoon to everyone. Good morning, people in Austria. And I'm glad that I'm part of this event. And being a representative of an education institute, IIT Guwahati in this case, we are very privileged to contribute in whatever way possible to developing various technologies. Plus, definitely, we always look forward to extend our support to other regional problems, national problems. Always, we are available with the expertise, the multidisciplinary expertise that we have in the institute. So, can you please go to the next slide? Thank you. So, IIT Guwahati is really a beautiful campus. Definitely, I would like to invite you all to the campus. I've placed 2 photographs. Usually, we like to show these pictures not just because of the beauty, but the thing is, the campus is really in a very in a big area. It's around 732 acres. And what we show here is we have very nicely constructed campus. Being in the northeast, we have a lot of water bodies everywhere spread across the entire region. And being the only IIT among the 8 states, what we realize is that it's a moral responsibility to also provide technological support to everyone. And what I've shown here is despite all the floods, all the disasters that happen in this region, what we have developed in our campus is like a real role model, which a lot of people try to emulate. Like whenever there is a big flood anywhere in the region, not a single road in our campus is inundated. And this is the model we show, and we have a lot of water bodies which are interconnected, and we definitely would like to take this model even further forward. So we are very fortunate that in the year 2021, the Honorable Union Minister of State for Civil Aviation, General V.K. Singh, he had launched the first Center for Excellence for drone as well as artificial intelligence together at IIT Guwahati. And right now we have renamed it. Our Senate told that it should be a Center for Excellence in drones, and now it's just Center for drone technology. As such, it has already evolved to some extent, and we are looking at multiple aspects related to drones, not just the academic sector, but also research and development, and also some services, and which I'll show you as we move forward. Next slide, please. Yeah, so the main vision that we started this work on this drone center is to design definitely and to develop various advanced indigenous drones and drone systems. So when I talk about drone systems, this is a very important area where multiple faculty members in a lot of departments, they're working on signal processing. You get a lot of images, you get a lot of other kinds of signals which need sometimes enhancement. So we have a very strong group on this image processing, or in general we got this signal processing. It can be image, it can be sound, it can be any other thing. So we have information or we have people with very strong backgrounds in this area who can help us in developing various kinds of drone systems, including materials for drones, things that are required for developing the bodies, the paints, the radar systems. So a lot of things are going on, scattered across the institute, which we are trying to collate and bring to in this drone center. Similarly, IITs are very can you please go back? So thank you. On the software development, and this is where we again would like to contribute, and we are already doing a lot of work on that aspect. And the third aspect, which we are working very closely with the state government, and 2 days back even our central government, the education minister also happens to be the skill development minister, and we directly report to him for all the activities. And we have now been told to develop specific skill development centers and training programs in drone. Definitely there are a lot of startups who are joining hands with us. At IIT Guwahati, we are very fortunate that there are 2 startup companies very well known in the drone sector. One is the Marut Drones. The person in Marut Drones, he is an alumni of IIT Guwahati, and we are working very closely with him, Mr. Kumar. Similarly, we also have another startup called Drone Tech Labs. They are based in Assam, and we have also been doing a lot of work with them. And our primary reason, the reason that to join hands with them is to there are a lot of problems in the region, and we're trying to solve them. I'll show you some slides later what we have initiated already. And moving forward, there are a lot of issues that this region faces. And as I mentioned, the 8 states, we have only one IIT, one national lab, which is definitely trying to solve a lot of issues. The biggest problem, in addition to the terrain, we have a large problem of the border issues. These are just not national the interstate borders, but also the international boundaries. So India in this region has boundaries with China, with Bhutan, with Bangladesh, and with Myanmar. So you can imagine that there's a lot of complexity, and this is something that we are working very closely with a lot of different agencies to help have the accurate mapping and to ensure that that there is no problems just because of demarcation problems. Similarly, we also have a lot of issues that again our Prime Minister has made an effort to open a center for disaster management and research at IIT Guwahati, and the drone technology use of this and provide long-term solutions for a lot of different challenges, a lot of different problems like floods, earthquakes, landslides, and many other problems. Especially during COVID, we also had this medical intervention that was needed. So this is something that we are looking forward to assist in a very, very big way. And there are two different agencies, MIT and Department of Science and Technology, who are putting effort to set up large research and development base at IIT Guwahati, and definitely with other agencies which can initiate a lot of very emerging problems in this drone sector, as well as allied sectors of these drones. And as I mentioned, we really have a widespread integration of drone technology across at least 8 sectors now. We are talking with 8 different agencies in the state, and hopefully, we will be able to implement at least 2 or 3 of them this year. I've listed some of them here. The survey. Sorry, I'll just tell you next slide. Yeah, this includes this 5 to 6 year, and many more are there in the pipeline. And I'll not go into the details of everything. Yeah, in this the biggest region, the center that we are trying to establish is to have a nodal center in the Northeast region. Okay, so we don't have a drone policy in any of the states in this region, and that is something we are working very closely. We have already given a proposal to the state, which probably can also be extended to all other states, and we'll have a proper policy on how we can take up the application of these drones, or how we can use that with a proper policy document. And definitely we promote to. Sorry, I think you're going too fast. Is it automatic? Yeah, thank you.
Take your time.
So basically, we definitely want to promote and strive a lot towards nation building, and we want to scale up the operations in very specified sectors, especially in the unmanned aviation industry. And the testing and the certification thing, we will be probably starting by the end of this month itself. And this is something that we are working very closely with state government as well as the national government to have some policies relaxed, being an academic institution. And another major thing that we are doing is a lot of outreach activities to bring awareness of the use of these drones and how this can benefit a lot of different sectors in this region. I'll not go into the details. I request you to please move next slide. Yeah, thank you. Another proposal that we are working with, and we definitely would need expertise from different kind of industries and different agencies, is to set up a big drone port. So we have already initiated a plan for that. We call it Ahom. That is the name of the Assam state. We would like to start these operations for drone port, and this will be definitely probably the one of the first of its kind drone port. They're also planning a museum with that, and at multi-level we are in discussion with again with at least 8 agencies here to set up this entire center, and to have like a ready-made available drones for any kind of help for disaster, for educational purpose, even for surveillance, whenever it is needed, we want to do that. And this we have also been able to obtain some kind of funding as of now, and we're looking forward to expand the activities to a lot of other sectors I've listed here. And definitely it will be like a nodal center for operation of the drones, but also maintaining all the activities of the drones that will be initiated in this region. Next slide, please. So already the activities, as I mentioned, we have initiated. I would like to spend maybe around 2 minutes here. So one thing that we have already started is with the water resources and management department. We have done survey of lot of water bodies and the rivers. This is very important because if we want to stop the floods, we have to revive lot of water bodies. So along with the ground team, we have done some lot of bathymetric survey of the water bodies, and we are working on this aspect a lot. Last year, we could do significant work in the disaster management, which was, doing analysis as well as, the survey of the flood areas, plus also a lot of things in the landslide area. And this was demonstrated in the month of June. Extensive work was done. We are working in the landslide area also with the railways, where the safety survey, the landslide prone areas, we predict and we give them the photographs, and how we can, give them a pre-warning of what is likely to happen. Similarly, in the agriculture and agro-technology, this also we have demonstrated to them, the pesticide spraying, which is very common across the world, and the potential that this has in this region is, immense, and we definitely would like to extend that for this pesticide spraying and other agricultural activities in this region. We are also doing the survey of the river bank and the land for setting up various refineries. This is another very big activity, and we are doing training activities with administrative colleges. So this is something happening in a big way. And what I mentioned here is there are 4 different kinds of officers. The top level IAS, then you have the Assam Civil Services, then the next level the Patwaris and the Land Service. So we are going to give training to everybody. And as I mentioned earlier, we are looking into skill development center, also the river hydrology and the geology study. And this is something that we have already done, the wildlife dolphin conservation. This is a major activity that we are doing, and we will be extending to other birds and animals and rare species preservation. Similarly, we have also been able to extend our drone services to Arunachal Pradesh, a demonstration in Meghalaya, also the Republic Day ceremonies, and a few other surveys in the religious festivals. So already a lot of activities have been initiated by IIT Guwahati along with few startups in the different region, and we're very happy that we could demonstrate that this is an activity we did last year in the flood prone area. So the first time that the state requested us, and we have been able to do the survey of the very large area of the flood. And one very nice thing is this is the way how our students team, we have a robotic club, we have an aero modeling club, a technical club, they all went there, and after a certain region, because of the flood, no vehicles could go. So they went into the tractor into the flood prone areas, and we could do the survey. We could deliver the medicines, we could also deliver food packets and emergency relief to a lot of different areas. So this is something that we could achieve last year. This was highlighted by the Ministry of Education, also by various tweets, and it got a lot of appreciation and goodwill by these activities. And this is something that we really want to focus, and we want to enhance our activities before this year the flood that is likely to happen twice a year. We have a lot of floods. So this is something we want to enhance, and we want to be always ready to provide services to the region. This is again continuation of the same thing. This is the drone activities that we did here. We can move on to the next slide. Yeah, and these are the major plans that we have. We want to have a nodal center. We want to have a center for excellence, and we have the drone port. And of course, we want to do a lot of activities in the entire region, not just in the state of Assam. The next slide, please. So that's all from me. We definitely would like to join efforts at IIT Guwahati, and anyone who's interested to come forward. And these are the main activities. The mainly research and development. If there are, we also have a very strong ecosystem for startups, for entrepreneurial activities, and definitely if somebody is interested, you should join with us, and a lot of other activities as I listed. So with this few words, I would like to thank you, and we'll discuss at the end of the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Iyer, for leading this initiative on drone technologies in India. As you know, that India offers huge agricultural land and opportunities to be fulfilled by innovation. One such use case in agri-tech is led by Senseacre. I would request to Mr. Vinod Kumar S to come forward and make the presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Ambassador. Thank you, Dr. Ajay, and my professor and director, Dr. Parameswar. I'm a student from IIT Chennai, so I would reach out to you, sir. Good afternoon and good morning to everybody in Austria, and good afternoon and good evening to my audience in India. Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. Next slide, please. Next. Yeah, we have been a very early bird in the drone arena in India way back in 2012, and we have worked with a couple of companies from Switzerland, US, China to bring those technologies into India, and we have been doing this service in terms of all categories, whether it is drones in roads monitoring, drones in agriculture, drones in water management, drones in structures, drones in asset integration. Many of these stuff have been done for quite a long time on land surveys and all that. But finally, we thought we should super specialize in something that is a need of the hour and that is global. So that we chose precision agriculture as an opportunity. And within precision agriculture, how drones has relevance in doing optimization with this technology to the world of farming and food production, food security and all that, we will demonstrate as we pass. All of us hear that climate change is a big challenge across the world. Food security is a big challenge across the world, and two things: farmer and soil are under tremendous stress. So anything that is in terms of technology that can apply with evidence to demonstrate that there are better inputs for soil management, for better pest and disease interventions, detection, and then subsequently better yield and enhance farmer prosperity is the need of the hour. But again, with the caution that it should not be destructive anymore, because soil is under tremendous stress. Next slide, please. Yeah, all of us understand, the too extent of too much of fertilizers and the agrochemicals that we have been taking into the agri ecosystem. There are too many health issues that have been identified across the world, and this is another challenge that people don't want to use, or moving from degenerative agriculture to sustainable agriculture to regenerative agriculture to ensure that food is more nutritious, food is more healthy, and all humans and the soil, environment, air, water, everything is good to go, sustainable. Okay, as far as the precision intervention is concerned, satellite technologies have been doing extremely good in the time they were relevant. But as we speak, if we are targeting something like a pest and a disease, this is a near real-time or a real-time subject. So only drones with very high-resolution sensors can capture this. And within this, again, ecosystem, what we have evolved is, satellites and constellation of satellites can come closer to 10 meters accuracy. But we with our interventions in drones and high-resolution sensors, we are coming up to almost sub-centimeter accuracy, or we call it as leaf level accuracy. So we have coined this process which has our I would say IP, which we are demonstrating across many crop areas and pests and diseases across the world. Okay, again, this is common, but yeah, this is what are we achieving out of this is a sustainable model. Okay, there we are able to save water usage and better health, better soil, okay, better food production, and then definitely better environment. Okay, this is the way we do it. Actually, this is the science of the capture. Okay, FAO already has been publishing that 40% of the crop is lost to pests, and unfortunately there is no intervention to actually do some predictive modeling of these pests. So what we have been achieving is in a pest life cycle of egg, larva, pupa, moth, how early can we detect, and what is the kind of evidence that we can bring to the table to ensure that we do the detection, we analyze the entire crop zone area for that particular disease or pest, and then we immediately transform that into a flight plan for spraying, and then do the spraying. So all the intervention in a scale of say 100 acres would be done on a 24-hour basis, right from capturing the imagery, processing, analyzing, and spraying. Okay. So if you look at this, how soon, as I said, four pests have been very disastrous globally, whether it is corn, maize, paddy, or even vegetables or horticulture crops, pink bollworm, fall armyworm, thrips, and stem borer. 4 diseases, 4 pests have actually devastated almost $10 to $20 billion of revenue loss on crops. So how this intervention of doing it early has actually given a substantial evidence of crop saving by 20%. As FAO said 40%, we could reduce that to 20%, which means we are straight away putting that into an yield matrix of saving that. And on top of it, because of the early intervention, you don't need to do too many agrochemical cycles for spraying. So that is another intervention which we are bringing to the table. And this is another, that's the fall armyworm, and this is the pink bollworm. Okay, all the blight, whatever, wilt and everything, all kinds of diseases. We take very high resolution capture and then process them with our algorithms. And some places where in India we don't have internet facility, so we do almost up to 100 acres of data processing on laptops itself. So we have configured a very high performance computing systems where you have 100 acres of a plot with all kinds of disease infestation and incidence management done in a span of say 24 hours, as I said. Oh, this is the typical satellite resolution you get to the right, and this is the constellation of satellites to get, and best we can get is to a plant level. But when we are talking pest, okay, this is the kind of imagery you get from our capture. Okay, so this is the science of capture we have demonstrated across 9 crops in India and 4 pests. And again, within the pests, okay, most of the time there are good pests, repellent pests, which are good for the crop. So you have to be very careful when you're actually doing the training models of which is the dangerous pest and which is the repellent pest. So that also we do that. And on top of that, we also consider seeds for doing the brick index management, so that the crop is very healthy at the time of sowing. Typically, scientifically, just to give some evidence, if there is any seed that is growing or a plant that is growing about 10 index of bricks, the repellents or the stamina of the plant is very high, that it can be matured on its own. So that's one science. And then this is a borer or a beetle, sorry. So most of the time, farmers and even the scientists ask us, how do you actually detect a pest under the leaf? So this is another observation to say that, how close can we get from the aerial imagery to take beetles. And if you look at this image, okay, this is already a disaster for as far as we are concerned, because the plant has already been attacked. And this is the sign, this is a blight on the crop at leaf level. And if you do the same algorithm run on these kind of imagery, you get these kind of infestation models. Okay, so again, deeper, this is a borer on a chickpea. The leaf of this chickpea is 3 centimeters and the borer is in millimeter. So if you look at this kind of an imagery from aerial view, okay, no satellite observation can give you this kind of data. Okay, so this is where the Senseacre has established, as I said, the process of capture with such high resolution sensing that you get this across crop zone area at leaf level. Okay, again, as a part of the precision agriculture, when we say precision agriculture accuracy at millimeter, the ground truthing data have to be established. So whether it is a disease, pest, or any biotic or abiotic stress, we do incidence management and do training models on ground truthing, both with manually and also with aerial imagery, so that you have 10 on 10 kind of a situation for your ground truthing and incidence management across the crop zone area. This is a large case study. This is a 1,000-hectare plot in one of the states in India, where FAO has also published this as the world's India is one of the best digital initiative in crop health monitoring. So if you look at the third one, okay, India has very small holding farmers. In fact, most of the world has small holding farmers. So if we take a crop zone area of say 100 hectares, and then if we can individually diagnose the crop health of each individual farmer based on his crop size, okay, or the plot size. So in that way, you can start deriving many indices, and this is another view of the analysis that can be covered purely in the crop health. And this is purely an organic view of because people are moving to regenerative agriculture. This is one of the use cases we have done purely on evidence-based management with organic, zero agrochemicals, mostly on the natural products and the bioenergy products. How we could achieve good 100% organic yields, and how this can be actually marketed. And yeah, this is a typical view of crop cycle. You have two types of crops in India called Kharif and Rabi. Okay, one is a 90-day crop and one would be at 120-day crop. And based on the crop health cycle, so we do interventions, approximately 3 to 4 times of crop health diagnostics and 3 to 4 times of crop spraying. So once you get into the second life cycle, these spraying cycles and the diagnostic cycles can come down. So there is another, I would say, input cost reduction in terms of even mechanization into the farm. Okay, and these are very high level indicators, and typically a combination of satellite, combination of very high resolution drone data, and also ground sensors. If these three combinations come into picture for doing different analysis, I think we will be definitely sure that we are improving the soil, environment, sustainability, food security, climate change. All these problems with metrics of measure can be achieved at scale, and definitely we can become a net zero carbon initiative providers as a service. This is the one optics we have worked with an Israeli company who have excelled in this kind of high resolution sensing. So we are from Israel, and we have collaborated with them, and we are exclusive with their India partners. And so we are building these optics from, say, 10 band very high resolution to 14 band high resolution to the next level of hyperspectral sensing. And then this is the fully designed drone as made in India. I would say, except the telemetry, telecommand, and the batteries, all the proprietary systems, the entire body, frames, structures, gimbals, the cameras, everything as such is made in India, made in Hyderabad. And I also have the privilege of working with the startup of IIT Guwahati, Marut Drones. In a couple of the initiatives, we have used their drones also in a couple of our interventions. Okay, so this is the scale of our work, and we have been global. We are in Romania, we are in Indonesia, we are in Malaysia, and as far as some of the large initiatives are concerned, we are the largest digital precision agriculture provider for stem borer detection in a coffee plantation in our country. We do approximately 80,000 acres of crop health disease detection for one of the largest coffee plantation company in our country, and we also do vertical spraying, which is very unique to us, where we do pepper spraying from 30 feet to 70 feet. So these are a couple of our customers worldwide, and yeah, that's it from our side. And we have been mostly working on the impact for the environment and the society stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vinod, for the wonderful presentation on the perfect use of drone in agriculture. Now, may I call upon Mr. Singh from DronaMaps to start his presentation.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Ajay. And thank you, Mr. Hoertnagl, for setting up this great webinar. So let me get started.
Yeah, you can share your slides from your screen.
Great. So I'll first start with a very quick introduction. So I'm Utkarsh, founder and CEO of DronaMaps, and my co-founder Ayushi Mishra. Both of us hail from the Johns Hopkins University, where we've also been blessed with a lot of support from our professors and the other intellectual awardees who have supported us through this journey of the last 6 years. We're a Forbes 30 under 30 award-winning team, and we're very proud of that, and the details of which I'll just take you through now. So DronaMaps does centimeter level 3D mapping using drones. In fact, Dr. Iyer and Mr. Vinod as well have mentioned one of the startups from India which is very good in this, which is Marut Drones, Prem, who's a dear friend. So back in the day, back in 2016, when Prem and I sat together, like we were discussing very often that drones are very powerful as a tool, but the question is what level of analysis can we do with it? You've already seen what level of agricultural analysis we can do and what other use cases we can follow. And I'd like to take you through a journey of some urban use cases, of some other use cases that we have discovered. So the way that we went around discovering the spread of technology in India was we started partnering up with the German database company SAP as well as ESRI. Now, ESRI and SAP are the gold standard when it comes to databases and GIS. It would be true for Austria. It would also be true for US, Germany, most of Europe, and as well as India, wherein most of the government agencies and the enterprises at large scale are already hosting the data on an SAP HANA S4 platform or something like that, which needs to be integrated for the operations to be further simplified using the drones. So we've tried to do that. And the way we do that is we go about any area of interest. For example, what you see on the screen right now is for an industrial area where the properties have been put up for sale. So the entire piece of land, which traditionally one required to go and visit and then analyze using manual tools, maybe a manual survey, can now all be digitized down to centimeter scale and put up on the website for internationally any investor to be able to check, measure to the accurate level, maybe place their own architectural models on top of it for construction, and maybe even book the land, which is what we enable with several government agencies. So the way, like I said, the way that we deploy this entire product is we first identify an area of interest. Typically, the way that DronaMaps works is in larger scales, in like hundreds of square kilometer ranges, but we can also do smaller areas, obviously, because drones are really, really flexible. Now, once we are trying to fly any area, it is important to recognize what is the time required to be able to fly it, whether you need to cover, for example, 100 square kilometers, which is almost an entire city, in just a month and maybe do it every month, or whether you need to do it in 1 year leisurely. Based on that, we deploy one or multiple drones in a swarm pattern to be able to cover that entire area very well. And for this, we do the flight planning using some satellite-based data that we utilize as the base maps. On top of that is the key technology, which is the 3D reconstructions, which is what we learned at Hopkins, and which is in fact also the Inventing Institute with Dr. Krishnan as for digital photogrammetry itself. And then comes the analysis part of it, which is the AI-based analytics. One part we can separate out into the urban sector, and the other into agriculture, precision agriculture rather, for further analysis of these informations. So, excuse me, like I said, the core technology is the 3D photogrammetry, which is being enabled by drones. Now, photogrammetry itself is not very old as a science. Satellites have been doing that since a while. So what is the main advantage that drones have started to provide in this, especially since 2014 onwards with the advent of drones? The one key advantage has been resolution. But then I would implore you to ask yourself the question, if you have a very good resolution, which is what you see on the image over here right now, where you can see the different bricks and the different stairs as well in true centimeter level 3D of an entire place. The question is, what do you do with such a pretty image? So based on that, we have actually deployed across multiple industries and verticals, all the way from rural and urban areas to highways, railways, power transmission corridors, and mining, for which I'll show you the actual products. Now, the way that we deploy about this, you must be able to appreciate whenever you have a good resolution picture, a really high resolution picture, unless we start developing some proprietary AI technologies to be able to extract specific information, country and local specific information from that, it just remains a pretty picture. What does that mean? It means that the way the buildings will have a layout in Vienna in Austria versus in New Delhi versus in Mumbai will be really different. So we need to train and retrain that AI for those deep learning models with more and more data to be able to get better and more accurate urban or rural area detections, which also includes agriculture, for example. Now, let me go over some of our key deployments. So one of the states in northern India, the state of Punjab, had actually deployed an entire GIS system enabled with satellites and drones, and that's a product called Singularity that we have deployed. The key aspect of it is, like what I was trying to impress upon you earlier, was the integration with SAP. We tend to accept all kinds of data inputs because a lot of the government departments, they tend to host data in Excel sheets and CSVs and APIs using other mobile apps. And we need to be able to bring in all of the data along with the drone data and satellite data and merge it in the same place. This makes it a command center kind of an application, because now you can suddenly utilize your baseline satellite data, you can utilize the drone data, and you can figure out each plot number with the ownership information, with the property tax paid, with the financial history, with the last 10 years of all the history associated of that person with the city management. On the screen that the video that you see right now, it's also showing you the city advanced planning, which is called the master plans in India. So the master planning of the city from the year 2034, which is how the city would evolve over time, is integrated along with the core drone-based maps and the satellite-based maps. The master plans are the ones in the red and yellow that you see. So integrating all of this data together on the same portal is what really gives us the ability to deploy at a large scale and take the maximum advantage of the drone technology in correlation with the existing information. Now, disaster response, our next use case, becomes extremely important, and we are very proud to have been deployed with the National Disaster Response Force, NDRF. And over here, what you'll see, there's a place in northern India which had a big disaster a couple years back. So we deployed drones for immediate response, but a synchronized response is quite key when we have a situation like this. Why? Because there's live videos coming in from multiple drones. There's all the satellite data, which is before the disaster, during the disaster, and after the disaster. There's a huge amount of area. These were snow-capped avalanches from the base of Himalayan mountains. And so we calculated the entire heat map from that place. We integrated with satellite data. We calculated the volume of the snow that would melt and cause the avalanche and the damage in the assets. So this glacier analysis, and based on a change detection principle, which is before the disaster, during the disaster, and after the disaster, becomes really crucial because it allows you to trigger alerts based on any future changes that you might observe over a large area. For example, in this particular section, what you see, the red marked between the 3D, the red marked assets which were damaged during the particular flooding event, were the particular damaged assets. And then we can take further drone imagery to be able to focus on those areas and get more analysis of it down the line. The next use case that I'll also share with you is a mining use case. Now, this is a very industry-specific use case. And what you see on the screen right now is a mining dashboard specifically built for volumetric calculations and for daily mine automation. So if you have a huge mine, say about 1 square kilometer or 247 acres, then you can just position a drone for daily operations there. So what information would you get? The concept that we like to speak about at DronaMaps is the continuous and uninterrupted rapid 3D mapping. That means every 24 hours or every day, maybe even multiple times a day, you can deploy your drone and you can calculate all the changes using that. Now, the baseline of it obviously is to integrate the government approved plans, the paper-based layouts, the permits, the satellite-based map, the approval map, the one in the red outline that you see, that's the sanctioned mining area. Any unauthorized mining outside of that, which is a cause for penalty for the government and for the concessionaire to be able to pay that and to be able to stay within those particular regulations and within those particular areas, becomes extremely crucial for responsible mining of our natural resources. So based on that, we calculate all of these 3D data sets and extract numerical information from it to a high degree of accuracy and integrate that with the existing information, the ERP system based on SAP S/4HANA of the enterprise. Now, most mining companies tend to deploy their assets, whether that's a truck or a bulldozer or the mining equipment, Caterpillar, all of those things using an ERP solution, which are very deeply ingrained in these enterprises. And so to be able to integrate all of that enterprise data, ERP data, into the system with the drone data, that really is where it marks the punch, because now suddenly you are enterprise ready. You can utilize the drone scan every single day to be able to calculate how much change was measured, how much material was extracted, what is the next series of materials that you need to order, and what is the next series of equipment, trucks, or any logistical transportation that you need to arrange. So being able to address all of these use cases makes us really a good fit for the enterprises and large-scale government departments, not just in India, but hopefully across the world. I'll also take you through some other use cases that we have. For example, rural development. India has a massive mission right now called Swamitva, in which about 6 lakh villages across the country are being mapped, of which the first 1 lakh villages or 100,000 villages are being undertaken as of this year and since last year. So rural development becomes extremely feasible using this technology. The industrial areas, which is a use case that I would imagine is applicable for literally every country on earth, wherein they want the foreign direct investment, FDIs, to be flowing in much more easily. So every country or every city, every state has a land bank. And today the technology allows us to be able to put all of that land bank on a digital website, accurate down to centimeter scale, for every investor across the world to be able to see and explore it. For example, we as startups would love to work with Advantage Austria and Mr. Ajay Singh to be able to see the entirety of Vienna and Innsbruck of where we are supposed to go. Now, had we had a 3D land bank of that would have really convinced us and done the job, right? So that's what we're trying to achieve as a vision, that every single place that is important to any customer or any industry should be analyzable and should be viewable right at the click of a button. So the industrial areas, all of these land banks also require very accurate measurements to enable any surveys or to eliminate any surveys rather, which are a legal requirement before any land purchasing and construction is done. So these platforms enable that very conveniently. Urban development obviously becomes extremely important because the first step of it becomes encroachment monitoring using satellite data, which makes the base data every 21 days. And then on top of that, you can add with any kind of drone data, for which I can show you a little bit of a better image. For example, this particular dashboard, where the amount collected, the number of properties, the financial history, and all the properties are in red and green, which are paid or unpaid, and you can toggle around with them. So being able to access this level of information for the city officials becomes extremely feasible. You can integrate all the ground imagery with it using cell phones and other kinds of data. Now, why is drone data specifically very crucial, and why is that the game changer in this entire technology? The reason is that drones allow you to have an aerial scale, that means a massive scale ability to map out entire cities in a very short amount of time, while also giving you the correct resolutions to be able to count the number of floors, windows, calculate built-up areas, calculate the condition of the roads, calculate even the health of the plants and the green machinery around your entire city and state. So any kind of large area surveys, contour detections, any kind of change detections assisted using satellites and then controlled using drones, building level change detection for entire countries at scale become extremely important from a use case perspective. Mining, as I said, we've already covered, and the key aspect over here is the 3D volumetric change that is happening for the minerals extracted every single iteration. Railways, highways and roads, the national highways, for example, become extremely important use cases, both from an under construction and operations point of view. Because under construction highways require entirely different set of...
maybe 2 more minutes, please.
Sure. So the under construction highways definitely require a very different kind of analytics versus the other operations and maintenance kind of highways. So let me just skip over the next slide, and I want to I'll skip over the agriculture part as well, since Mr. Vinod was very kind to take that up. And let me show you a sneak peek of one of the flagship Indian cities which we have built. So Ayodhya is a very famous city in India. It's a very religious place, and it has huge religious value. Now, when we went around and did centimeter level accurate 3D drone mapping for Ayodhya, we were able to highlight a lot of the problems for the city. For example, whenever there are any festivals in the city, it gets a huge influx of crowded populations. So we were able to accurately identify a lot of security loopholes. We were also able to find out the cracks on the roads. The resolutions of the drone-based maps are so good, and combine that with the change in elevation maps and the entire ability to spot what the high areas are, what the low areas are, what the local flooding situation on a house by house, street by street level is during the monsoon season was really a game changer. So being able to project any city and an entire large scale area in such centimeter level accuracy and being able to bring that about is what DronaMaps is all about. And we're open for any questions. There's a quick slide about all the awards that we've been honored with, which includes the Distinguished Alumni Award from the Johns Hopkins University, our alma mater, as well as the Forbes 30 Under 30 that we've been very proud of. And the vision, with what I like to conclude with, we're trying to realize the vision of continuous and uninterrupted rapid 3D mapping, and hopefully being able to take that across the world.
I would like all the speakers to be online, and this is our Q&A session. I would ask questions to the speakers. For Mr. Iyer, there's a question on how is the turbidity of the water bodies to be surveyed?
Can I answer? Am I audible?
Yes, yes, this is for you. So, yeah.
No, basically in the water bodies which are there, we are doing this bathymetric analysis, and we have two groups in one in mechanical and one in civil engineering. They have experts in that. Even now, some work is going on in multiple places. So they are the people who do that with the bathymetric analysis.
Okay, and
Yeah.
the person also asked about a bathymetric scanner can penetrate 2 Secchi depth. So is it highly dependent on the water quality? So the question was on those lines, turbidity of the water bodies to be surveyed. Yes. Another question is the incubation or mentorship support offered by IIT Guwahati. If anyone can opt for it, is there a possibility for the Austrian companies?
Yeah, definitely. Most welcome. In fact, we have a lot of we have multiple layers of or multiple avenues where this incubation can happen. We have like like an entrepreneurship cell. Okay, where directly students are there. They are it's a nice avenue where you can get a lot of interns from the students' body also. Then we have a technology incubation cell. That is run by faculty members, but we have people from the institute and we have people from outside who come there. And then we have two government-funded agencies. It's called the BioNest from the Department of Biotechnology, and we have one from Department of Science and Technology. We call it TIH, Technology Incubation Hub, and they directly have funding opportunities also. The TIH, where significant work is going on a different category of drones. We call them underwater drones. Okay, it's like a submarine, what you can see. So that is another area which is very unique to IIT Guwahati in the country, and a lot of work is going on there. And then we also have a very elaborate setup of a research park here. That is where you have a lot of companies also, or we have 42 companies right now in the research park. So there is a lot of opportunities and all these avenues to directly have contact with our faculty members and other experts in any area, any domain area you want. So there are a lot of avenues.
Okay.
If some companies are interested, you are most welcome, and we can share more details on based on what exactly they are looking for. And plus,
Sure.
we also have virtual incubation. That's another thing.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yes.
Sure. So I hope that all the Austrian startups and companies looking to enter into the Indian drone industry would be benefited by Indian Institute of Technology's leading initiative, this Drone Startup Lab. Another question I have for Mr. Vinod, you predicted a very good use case of drone in agriculture. Is there a possibility to use the drone in organic farming, which would be a totally different use case?
Absolutely. See, when you say organic farming, what is the input you are looking for as far as an alternative for agrochemicals, for example, to start with? Okay, how do you actually translate your soil into an organic matter, soil organic matter? So if these two interventions are coming with biofertilizer or anything in the liquid form in terms of neem or any other stuff which is bio, okay, can be used, and then we can definitely move it into an organic produce with mechanization with drones.
Yeah, in Austria or in Europe, there are vineyards, and the quality of wine, of course, depends more on the soil, atmospheric temperature, and many of the parameters which can be accessed by geosatellite data. Combined with drone technologies or imaginary, maybe this would be a good use case to look at.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Utkarsh, we have a question on the opportunities to work together, or if somebody wants to use your technology or somebody wants to offer your technology, is there a co-collaboration? Since you mentioned you already work with one of the IIT Guwahati startup, and how it looks like?
Definitely. So in fact, we are very keen on working with the Austrian startups and the government and other enterprises there. And our contact information is definitely available to you. But having said that, the one key thing that I'll say for integrations and for collaborations is, once we start identifying use cases with enterprises, for example, if there's a mining company or a green energy company, that's already an SAP ERP enterprise customer. So across borders, across countries, we can join hands together and be able to immediately help that enterprise onboard into our solutions together from both the countries. And I think these multinational companies then make a job much easier, because that enterprise would also be more willing to come on board since their entire ERP data would be integrated, and similar kinds of existing integrations need to be offered to those clients and companies for their comfort.
Okay.
I'll also post my contact information within the chat so they can reach out easily.
Sure. We will send this information. In order to save time and conclude the webinar on time, we would send you the question asked to you over email. And thank you very much for your active participation. We are looking forward to having you making good contact with Austrian companies, and also having Austrian companies getting help and support in terms of tech, incentive, in terms of academia, mentorship from your respective organization. Thank you, speakers.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
I would now call upon Mr. Hans-Joerg Hoertnagl.
Hope to be in touch with you as well.
Sure. Thank you. I would now like to call upon Mr. Hans-Joerg Hoertnagl to conclude the webinar. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajay. So first of all, I would like to thank our very competent speakers, and also congratulations to the different awards you got. I must say, for me personally, it was very fascinating being part of this webinar. And I'm taking away the following, let's say, bullet points of information. First of all, it was amazing to see the kind of new possibilities, these new technologies like drone it makes it possible. So it's amazing. You have military use, civil use, from catastrophe, farming, and so on. And I'm sure also the tax authorities will be very interested in the presentation from DronaMaps in this tracking the properties and so on. Then the second point I'm taking away, how it's amazing to see how far is India in that area. And we had today a speaker from Assam. Assam is close to the Bhutanese border, close to Bhutan, close to Myanmar, close to China, so in the northeastern state of India. We had a participant, a speaker from Chennai, which is in the far south of India, and we had a speaker from Gurgaon, Haryana, which is very close to Delhi. So that shows that all over India is really part of this new challenge of drone technologies, and all over India they're doing research and delivering new possibilities in this area. It's really amazing to see. So the third point I'm taking away, it's this new kinds of cooperations. We heard before one cooperation is with Israel and other countries. So in the future, for a lot of technologies, there could be also cooperations with Austrian startup tech companies, of course. And the fourth point I'm taking away, it's amazing to see these technologies you basically can use all over the world. So this is the new world we're living. Should you have any further questions, please address it to us, send us an email, and we will process that. So I'm coming to the end of this webinar. I just would like to inform you about the upcoming events. So very soon, mid of March, we are bringing a startup delegation. We're going to have 15 startups from South India, from Kerala. We bring them to a startups event in Vienna, startup event in Salzburg and in Innsbruck. So this is mid of March. Then 29th of March, this is the last Thursday in March, we have a webinar, The Future of Industry. And 26th of April, we have another webinar with the title International Engine Symposium. So I hope you see you there. I hope you had interesting new insights in the drone technology of India, and hope to see you soon. Guten Nachmittag. Na, Österreich.